welcome to SilverC Reviews Introduction. This is just going to be a short video to tell you kind of what my podcast is about. Sorry, I feel like I'm not completely in the frame. I make lots of mistakes in this podcast, so that's the first thing to get out of the way. Each one will have sections, and the times are always listed down below, so you can go to and listen to whatever you want and watch whatever you want. All the videos that I've recorded up until now will be on YouTube, and I'm switching over to audio only now, so that's why I'm doing this introduction, even though I already have an introduction out there. But this version of my podcast, I've got two of them. This one will be only about movies. So, you can also look up my other podcast called the Introvert, and my previous videos will actually have both of them combined, and I decided to split it at the first of the year, so that's why I've got two now. But this one will have the movies and like the recommendation, and the other one will have jokes, quotes, stories, and a bunch of other stuff. So the reason I even started doing any of this is because I feel like I have a general or a very common perspective on movies, but not one that you hear in movie podcasts. Like, I like listening to a lot of different movie podcasts, and the people you listen to always have such an in-depth knowledge. Like, even podcasts that they don't go in-depth, they've been working in the film industry and they know so much information about it, and that's great, but it kind of gets boring for me, like, unless I really like a certain movie, listening to all that information. Like, I've never been the kind to watch, like, extras and behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff, but I still feel like I hear on those podcasts a lot, because I do listen to them for recommendations. I hear them talk about, well, why is this movie making so much money? Because people like me watch it, and like, I can't remember actors' names. I have plot points go over my head, and I miss the obvious things, but I still enjoy movies very much. I love watching movies, and I always try to stay up on them and really enjoy them. So I feel like that's what I'm trying to do, is put that viewpoint out there, so that way if someone says, why in the world did anyone like this movie? Well, you can look at my reviews, and the review's always out there, so you can see what I'm giving it before you listen to it. So if you're ever curious, that's what this is for. I have a little board that I read bullet points off of, and I like to make them long because I'm not very good at condensing things, so it's going to require me to read them. But when I go to audio only, I'll be reading off my phone while I walk around. And if you look back a few podcasts, you'll actually see one where I was walking around and actually filming it. That's exactly what I'll be doing when I'm doing the audio only. I say and a lot. I'm sorry. I can't seem to stop myself. Okay, so I started off this podcast with a little bit of an introduction. Not nearly as much as it used to have, because I'll save most of the introduction stuff for my Inside the Introvert podcast. But if there's a little bit that relates to a movie, like, I'll probably mention a couple movies that I've watched recently that I'm not necessarily reviewing, but that I give a rating to. And then I go into a movie review where I just break down, technically you could call it a commentary, it's not really a review. I just go through, and as I'm watching a movie, I write down notes, what's funny, what's surprising, anything like that, whatever my feelings are at that moment, and that's what this is. So technically it's commentary, but it seems weird to say SilverC commentary, so that's why I call it a review, but I'm definitely not a reviewer or anything like that. Sorry, I jumped ahead and I said stuff without reading it, which I do quite a bit. The episode numbers will be a continuation from before I split the podcast, so if it looks like there's a whole bunch all of a sudden, that's why. Like, I'm going to split it, but I'm going to keep the same episode numbers, so if you want to see the previous stuff, you'll have to go back and watch it. I don't have a paid SoundCloud membership, so I can't put the audio up on the or anywhere out there like the older episodes. I can only do so much, but they're all on YouTube, so if you really want to see the older stuff, they're on YouTube. If for some reason people really want to start listening to the audio, I might do a paid membership, but for the time being, it's just not worth it. What was I gonna say? The movie review will have spoilers. I'll probably say it each time, but that's all I'm going to say, is just that it has spoilers. So it's not so much that I'm trying to spoil the movie, but I'm not good at, I can barely condense my thoughts and speak even without spoiling any, or with spoiling things, so definitely not without. See, can't do it. So yeah, I have trouble voicing my thoughts and verbalizing everything, so trying to navigate a way to say what I'm saying without spoiling anything is just not going to happen. So if you haven't seen a movie and you really don't want anything spoiled, you have to see it before you listen to my review, commentary, whatever you want to call it. The movie recommendation, however, will be spoiler-free, and I am not very good at selling movies, like convincing people to go watch them. So just know that if I'm recommending it, I highly think that you'll at least enjoy the movie. Although I could be wrong, there's people out there that really hate some of the movies I recommend, but I very much enjoy them. They have a high rewatch value for me, and I usually give a description and then might say like a little bit about the movie, but like I said, I just don't do a good job of making it sound like an awesome movie. So if it's in my recommendation, just go check it out. At least watch a trailer for it. That's the least you can do. And the movie recommendation will always be the end of the podcast, and then I'll have like a little tagline or something to say at the very end. All of the old episodes will be the SilverC review and the Inside the Introvert combined before I split them. Wind was my biggest enemy throughout my year of creating these videos. I never did a good job of avoiding the wind. I got a little bit better at it, but I didn't have this microphone until maybe a month ago, and the microphone on the camera is just terrible, and it let in a lot of wind noise, and a lot of times I was in areas that were just really windy. So some of the videos that I put out there are very hard to listen to. I'm sorry about that. Wind was just constantly messing things up, but just keep that in mind if you do happen to go back and listen to my older videos. But I'm leaving all those out there so that way you can get a visual and see what everything was like, if you're ever listening to audio and wondering anything. If you have a recommendation for a movie that you want me to see, post it anywhere you can contact me. I probably won't do my reviews on them unless, I don't know. I'm trying to keep my reviews on the newer movies that are coming out this year, but I mean, I might try doing a review on a movie that's recommended by somebody, but for the most part, I'll definitely watch the movie and put it into my like introduction or something. So any movie out there, if I've already seen it, I'll say I've seen it and I'll comment on it or something, but just post in the comments on SoundCloud or YouTube or Twitter or Instagram, or I guess that's it. All of my podcasts will be uploaded to both YouTube and SoundCloud. And like I said, I've only got so much room on SoundCloud, so they can only stay on there for a few months before I have to delete them to make more room. There's going to be a couple episodes out there on SoundCloud that have a lot of listens, so I just left them on there. I don't know, I might eventually delete them, but I'm going to split and make a separate SoundCloud account for my Inside the Introvert podcast, and also a separate YouTube account. I'm not positive on how I'm going to handle the older videos. I don't know if I'm going to try to split off. I probably will try to split off like the Inside the Introvert section and put that on the new channel, but I'll leave everything together as SilverC review. But so I should have more room. Like I should be able to put more episodes out there, but they don't stay on SoundCloud forever. My idea is going to be to, when I'm going to audio only, to upload it to YouTube. I'll take a picture of wherever I'm at, and probably, because I'm a freelance photographer, so I like doing interesting pictures, and I'll probably do like Okay, take this for example. If I was going to do an audio-only version of this, I would take a picture of this and have myself standing in multiple different areas in the picture all at once, like 8 or 9 different versions of me, and that would be the static image that I'll use on YouTube to put the audio out there. So, and that'll be so much easier for me. I think it'll be better audio quality in general, because if it is windy, I can move out of the way, I can get behind something. I'll be moving around constantly, and I won't have to worry about daylight. It's already kind of getting dark. Wintertime is terrible for daylight, so that'll be nice because I can just come out and get one picture, and then I can walk in the dark if I need to. So I'm really excited about doing the audio only. Like I said earlier, I have a Twitter and Instagram. You can definitely contact me on either one of those. Twitter, I share links to mostly just to YouTube videos and stuff. And on Instagram, I share pictures. They're funny pictures that I find on other websites. None of the stuff is by me. It's just stuff I find elsewhere and I share. I have a lot of really cool pictures, and I was trying to share them on those as well. And if I did that, then I would tag myself as SilverC Review whenever I shared one of those. But I finally gave up. It was just taking too much time, and there was no real benefit to it. So it's always an option in the future, but for the time being, I'm not sharing my own pictures anymore. And that's going to be it for this introduction. So if you have any questions or recommendations or anything like that, just comment anywhere that you're listening or watching this or anything. So take care of yourself, because there's only one you out there.